Today we're diving into something really fascinating from BBBBB magazine. It's a conceptual blueprint for how we might fight cancer, and it reframes the whole game. It sees the disease not as some random glitch, but as a strategic opponent, an opponent that we can actually outsmart.
Okay, let's just start with this quote from the author Saikou Venga. "The Grandmaster is out of moves. The board is ours." Wow. Talk about a bold opening statement. This isn't just a clever line, it's the entire mindset of the piece. It sets up this powerful metaphor of a chess match, where, for the first time, maybe we get to control the board.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to break down this idea of cancer's metabolic chess game. Then, we'll get into the good stuff, the dual-layered nanomachines and their attack protocols. After that, we'll look at the proposed roadmap to make this happen. And we'll wrap up with something, well, you'll see. It's a crucial bit of context that kind of reframes the whole thing.
Okay, let's jump in. First up, we need to understand the enemy's strategy. This is all about getting inside the mind, so to speak, of the opponent in this metabolic chess game. Now, this is where things get really interesting. The source doesn't just call them cancer cells. It calls them metabolic tacticians. Think about that. They're not just rogue cells gone haywire. They're portrayed as intelligent systems that actively reroute their fuel, rewrite their own internal rules, and are constantly adapting to whatever we throw at them. But here's the key. All that strategic maneuvering, it leaves behind a signature, a trail we can follow. So if the enemy is a tactician, what's our move? Well, the goal laid out here is pretty epic. It's not about just reacting anymore. It's about building nanomachines that can preemptively collapse the tumor's entire energy grid, hitting it from the outside on the surface and from the inside at its very core, at the same time.
All right, so how do we actually pull off a total collapse like that? That brings us to our next section, the conceptual weapons in this arsenal. These are the dual-layered nanomachines.
First up, we have nanomachine number 1. Its official name is the enzymatic collapse protocol. And its job, put simply, is to go after the tumor's main energy source with absolute precision.
And it has this really smart 3-step mission. So think of it like this. Step 1, it has to find the target. It does this by locking on to specific receptors you often find on breast, prostate, and lung cancer cells. Step 2 is like a final confirmation, a double check. It scans for key markers to make sure the tumor is in its high-energy, fuel-guzzling mode. And only then, once it's absolutely sure it's at the right place, does it execute Step 3. Boom! It delivers a payload that sabotages 2 critical enzymes that the cell needs to make energy.
And the results? Glycolytic paralysis. I mean, that sounds intense, right? It's because you're not just poking it. You're severing its main power line in 2 different spots. It's a strategic move designed to just shut down the factory.
But wait, a smart tactician always has a backup plan, right? What about the tumor's other energy sources? Well, that's where nanomachine number 2 comes into play. This one is called the pyruvate gatekeeper disruption protocol, and it goes even deeper.
So its mission starts out pretty much the same. It uses the same targeting system to find the tumor cell. But step 2 is where it gets really clever. It uses the tumor's own acidic nature against it, using special lipids to basically melt through the cell wall and get inside. And once it's in, its payload has one job: to find and just eradicate pyruvate, which is this supercritical fuel molecule that connects everything.
The outcome here is even more devastating for the tumor. The source calls it metabolic freefall. Without pyruvate, the cell's entire backup energy system just collapses, and then the main system stalls out too. We're talking about a total system-wide energy meltdown.
Okay, so we have these 2 incredible conceptual weapons. How do they work together? That's what this next part is all about, what the author calls the dual collapse overlay.
This chart, which, by the way, is called an echo rift continuity glyph, you gotta love the sci-fi vibe, lays out the whole strategy perfectly. You can see they both lock onto the same targets on the outside, so they're incredibly precise. But their internal missions are different. Nanomachine I attacks from the outside to cause energy starvation, while Nanomachine 2 gets inside to cause a full-on system failure. It's a beautiful, brutal 1-2 punch. So all of this sounds like it's straight out of a movie, right? I mean, nanomachines, metabolic collapse, it's wild. But the author actually lays out a roadmap for how you could, theoretically, bring this from concept to reality. And here it is, a 6-phase plan. It shows the whole journey mapped out, from just getting the idea down on paper
all the way through the really tough stuff like engineering, safety testing, getting regulators on board, clinical trials, and finally, to what's called sovereign deployment. It's a complete long-term vision.
But this brings us to our final section. And honestly, this might be the most important part, because it changes how you see everything we've just talked about. This is where we have to read between the lines.
I mean, the natural question, the big question looming over all of this is this for real? Is some lab somewhere actually building these things? Is this happening?
And the author gives us the answer, loud and clear, in what's called the Sovereign Impact Statement. It says, this research is not a contribution, it is a declaration. That one word right there, declaration, that's the key to everything.
And when you dig into the disclaimer at the very end of the article, it becomes even clearer. This whole thing is described as mythic infrastructure, a cinematic indictment, a sovereign broadcast. See, this isn't a normal research paper. It's presented as a piece of conceptual art, a statement designed to provoke us and make us think.
So here's the bottom line, the most crucial takeaway. What we have just walked through is a powerful, meticulously detailed idea. It's a conceptual blueprint, a thought experiment. It's designed to challenge the status quo and spark new ways of thinking, not to be a literal instruction manual for a drug that's in development today.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating final question to chew on. While this specific blueprint might not be in a lab right now, what if this kind of thinking is exactly what we need? What if the next huge leap forward in medicine isn't just inspired by data points and spreadsheets, but by the power of big, bold, mythic declarations just like this one? Something to think about.